Gaming news today touches on a brand new game from Destiny, and it's not at all what you would expect from a Destiny game. My latest upload covers it, so if you haven't seen my video on Destiny Rising, I argue while it could be a very huge game and a lot of money for Bungie, I also go through all the details, and I'll kind of give you a brief outline in the opening of this show, but also we had an Xbox partner preview announced, and there are 3 versions of Call of Duty hitting xCloud Gaming. There have been some complaints and some people pointing out that Call of Duty has yet to land on Game Pass in the wake of ABK, none of the older titles. And then there were some obvious changes to Game Pass in the sort of the anticipation of Black Ops 6. We'll be discussing that as well. There's a new head for Xbox Game Studios, and I've also got some more games for your radar and your wish lists. And some of them are already out and have great reviews or are coming out this week. So leading the charge here, I think, as the lead story is obviously Destiny Rising. And again, be sure to check out my latest video on this and how and why I think this could be huge. But there are just some important high points from that video. Number one, this is not a looter shooter. Now, you're going to want to watch the video to get the details on why it's not a looter shooter, because it may interest you and it may not. Given those realities, there's also concerns about the microtransactions. Mobile games are known for having lots of microtransactions, and beyond that, games that really center on characters and center on grind can start to turn into a bit of a slog. And again, there's details in that video that I put up today that you'll want to check out. Now, with a game like this potentially generating a ton of money for Bungie, what does this mean about Destiny 3? And the future of Destiny, and what does PlayStation think? I sort of tie all that together in the video because I do find it all to be related. And today's live show, I'm going to want to know what you guys think about this, so make sure you're here for those live shows. Make sure you're hitting subscribe and the bell button, as well as the like button. And if you're watching this later as a past broadcast, put all those notifications on so you don't miss these live streams. And the next big thing covers a variety of the Call of Duty franchise. It was announced that Black Ops 6, Modern Warfare 3, and Call of Duty Warzone will be playable on xCloud Gaming through Game Pass on October the 25th. Now, this is a little confusing because, number one, Warzone doesn't require Game Pass, so these are not necessarily hitting Game Pass. I do not think Modern Warfare 3 is hitting Game Pass. What I do think, though, is that you need Ultimate Game Pass in order to take advantage of this. Now, this is in the wake of it being pointed out. There were a handful of outlets, and I even saw Xbox fans saying, why have you not put any of the Call of Duties onto Game Pass yet? You have that entire catalog of games, and you're not doing it. Now, hitting xCloud could be a sign of more to come. This could sort of be a phase 1 move to do that, but in the wake of Ultimate Game Pass price going up, and they also moved day and date to Ultimate, you cannot get Black Ops 6 day and date unless you're on Ultimate or you're on one of the older grandfathered standard plans. Some fans are starting to question whether or not the Activision acquisition is helping them or not. Some commentators have even observed that there's a lack of Black Ops 6 Game Pass advertisements. They haven't drawn a ton of attention to the fact that you'll be able to play Black Ops 6 on Game Pass, which seems kind of weird. It'll be probably one of, if not the best and most sold game this year. Now, some are theorizing that they don't want to emphasize the game hitting Game Pass because of what it will obviously do to sales on the Xbox platform. Activision notoriously avoided Game Pass for that reason. Now, this calls into question what will happen with the future of Call of Duty and Game Pass, as well as other big titles. Earlier this year on the Xbox podcast, where they talked about the 4 titles going to PlayStation and Nintendo, Matt Booty recommitted the fact that first-party games would be hitting Game Pass day and date, but shifting it to Ultimate and raising the price of Ultimate, it kind of takes the punch out of that commitment that, like, hey, we're going to continue to put all of our first-party games on Game Pass day and date, but you need a $20 Ultimate subscription in order to take advantage of that. In other Xbox news, we also learned that there is a new head of Xbox Game Studios. According to Game Rant, Microsoft has undergone a series of massive changes to its shifting structures across multiple divisions in recent months, and the latest big shakeup to be announced is the retirement of Alan Hartman as head of Xbox Game Studios. Hartman had worked with Microsoft for over 25 years on a number of key franchises like Forza and Age of Empires, and his new replacement comes from an unexpected studio with its own big releases. No, fear not, though, all right? They are pulling somebody from Rare. More from the same article. As reported by GamesIndustry.biz, Alan Hartman is stepping down as head of Xbox Game Studios and will be replaced by Craig Duncan of Rare. Duncan has served as the head of Rare for over 14 years and led the launch of the hit live service pirate game Sea of Thieves. Duncan's new role will encompass the management of multiple Xbox teams, including Halo Studios, Obsidian, Double Fine, Compulsion Games, and more. He will continue to oversee Rare in his new leadership position, working alongside his own replacements. Now, hopefully this is a good change. He's going to be still serving his leadership at Rare, and that's, in probably a smaller capacity. I'm actually anxious to see development from Rare on their game Everwild. It does seem like Sea of Thieves is continuing to move into more of a coasting position, maybe not end of life, but just less support, less content. And I would like to see what they've been doing with Everwild, as that's not been sort of talked about in quite a while. We did hear they had a creative director leave. Sadly, that's been a theme for a lot of the studios over there at Xbox. Creative directors don't seem to stay very long. I've continued to say that has more to do with Microsoft than Xbox and Phil Spencer and the rest of the team underneath Xbox. I think Microsoft makes it really hard on creative teams, and so creative directors continue to leave. So I'm not really sure where Everwild is or what its status is, but it was one of the other games that was sort of shrouded in a bit of mystery. Now, I've got some games for your wish lists and your radar, and this first one is a bit of a repeat. I already put this on your radar. It has released, and the reviews are quite good. Neva has an 87 on OpenCritic and 86 on Metacritic. Their other game, Gris, was recently on sale. I really think you should check this out if you like these sort of atmospheric games, very art-driven games, and this is a 2D platformer that has gotten amazing and consistent praise. A lot of the scores I saw were 8, 9s, and 10s. So it landing in the upper 80s, 87 and 86, is actually quite a feat. It's not easy to maintain. Anything in the low 90s or high 80s is actually pretty tough to maintain. A lot of the Game of the Year nominations end up in the low 90s, sometimes high 80s. So congrats to the team that worked on this, and be sure to check it out. They have their little accolades trailer already ready to go because they have done such a good job, and that's a Devolver game, and I've consistently enjoyed games coming from Devolver. Now, this Friday, Unknown 9 Awakening releases on both current and old-gen consoles as well as PC, and it does feature the actress that plays Yennefer in the Witcher TV series, so you may recognize her face in these trailers. She may seem familiar, and that would be why. Now, it's not releasing on the Switch, but it is releasing on both old-gen and current-gen consoles. It seems to center around slowing time, using magic, actually possessing people, and it looks like a combination of Forspoken and Banishers if you've played either of those titles. I will likely be checking this out in the Green Room. That's an opportunity for those who support the channel with a Member Plus membership or higher. Both Member Plus and VIP get to see me check out a lot more games, and as you can see here, this is an actual gameplay, but it is showcasing some of what you can do. I've actually watched some of the gameplay, and I think it actually looks pretty cool, and it is coming from Bandai, so typically I feel like they've got a pretty good track record as of late. We'll be checking that out this Friday in the Green Room. Now, yesterday, somebody from the community put this one on my radar because they thought it would be up my alley, and it very clearly has a similar aesthetic to Stellar Blade. ID at Xbox actually announced this. That's what this trailer is. 3 weeks ago they announced it, and there is a demo on Steam right now. I do not think this is coming to PlayStation. I think this is an ID at Xbox effort, which is why they have the trailer up on their ID at Xbox YouTube channel, and it's got sort of this very, very quick, flashy, melee-based combat, and the demo is currently, as I said, available on Steam. Now, currently, It says Q4 2024 is the release date on Steam, but I'm not seeing their a release date in the next month and a half or 2.5 months. That does seem to be a bit strange. The other thing about the game that I wanted to include, I didn't include this in my notes. I wanted to make sure I was correct. Yes, I was like, I'm pretty sure he said it was a rogue, but I wanted to double check. I forgot to type this part out. It's an RPG action roguelike hack and slash. So for those of you that like this sort of, action roguelike, sort of dungeon crawler aspect of games, be sure to check out Disorder is the name of the game, Disorder. And it is it's like I said, and if you want to find the demo on Steam, it's not on the actual page of the game. It's kind of interesting. You have to search for Disorder demo in order to find it. Sometimes demos aren't on the actual page of the game, and I'm not sure why. I think sometimes they do that so the demo can get a review score, and I think when I checked, it had a pretty good score. So that maybe is coming fourth quarter this year, and maybe not. So just a quick recap. Destiny Rising, a Destiny mobile game, was announced. We are probably going to end up talking about that quite a bit because I covered Destiny for a very long time, and there's a lot of Destiny fans here that either are interested or not interested. I may even include some of their comments from the upload in this show, so be sure to be here for those uploads in the morning and leave comments. And then the Xbox partner preview was announced. I actually forgot to put that in my show notes. I completely forgot to say that one. We will be co-streaming that. That is this Thursday. The 17th. And that is going to take place at 1 p.m. Eastern. I forgot to put that in the show because I was trying to gather all my trailers and I scrolled past the image. So October the 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll probably go live around 12:30. So be sure that you're subbed to the channel so you don't miss out on that. And then we looked at the different Call of Duties hitting xCloud Gaming. Some of the complaints about where are all the other Call of Duties, why are they not yet on Game Pass, as well as the new head of Xbox Game Studios. So Xbox has definitely got some things happening this week. And then I gave some more games for your radar and your wish list. So that's the gaming news. And now it's time for the discussion. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Thank you for already getting 100 likes on the video, and thanks for a strong start to the week. We already have 54 members. Remember that your renewals, those count as well if you're a member plus or above. And we have a running incentive now. Anytime you guys upgrade, let me know. If you upgrade to VIP or member plus, when 5 people in a given day do that, I'm going to drop a 20 bomb on chat and bless the community because we're really trying to push and get that member plus number up. So thank you guys so much for being here. I put out a poll about the Destiny Rising game, and I can show you the results. I've been putting these polls on the YouTube channel, so be sure to check those out. I'll include maybe even some of the comments from that. And I said, are you interested in the game, right? So are you interested in the Destiny Rising, the Destiny mobile game? Let me adjust the cap card here. And 18% said yes, 82% said no. Now, the general consensus around this poll was that people are not interested because it's mobile. A lot of people just straight up comment and they're like, I don't play mobile games. And I totally get that. Like, if you're not a mobile gamer, you're not going to have any interest, in this game. You're not going to have any interest in checking it out. But here's the thing. I don't necessarily think this game was made for long-standing Destiny fans. I definitely don't think it was made for people who like looter shooters. Like, as you read the details of how Destiny Rising is going to function, if you're like a long-standing Destiny fan and you love the looting, you love what I call the looties and the shooties, that's not going to be happening in that game. It isn't. Hang on. I got to push the white balance thing on this. I thought I did. I'm going to be a little glowing today, but I don't want it going up and down all throughout the stream. I find that to be annoying. So yeah, to me, it's not at all. That's too bright. It's going to drive me crazy. I'm sorry. Okay, that's better. Jiminy Christmas had me looking like Casper out here. If you're if you are actually looking for a looter shooter, I don't know how Destiny plays right now to the brand new player. My wife tried it, I don't know how to experience it as a brand new player. I only know how to experience it like through her as a brand new player. And it's pretty rough, And so, maybe making a new game in a new way that's not so focused, on the looting aspect, maybe it could do very, very well. But again, I think the mobile crowd would have been a little bit less receptive to just how dense Destiny is as a game, like Destiny gameplay and the looting and the loot tables. It might be actually more approachable as a game with respect to, hey, it's a sci-fi action RPG shooter. It's not a looter shooter. You're leveling your guns up. You're leveling your characters and your abilities up. That might be more conducive to the mobile audience. So, somebody says, can we stop acting like $20 is a lot for Game Pass monthly? I mean, I don't think anybody's saying that it's a lot. It's more about the optics, right? Like, nobody's saying, oh, that's a lot of money. I think they're saying, hey, you raised your prices, right? They made all these assurances. Hey, Matt Booty comes out and makes these assurances. He's like, yeah, our first-party games are going to continue to come to Game Pass day and date. And then months later, they're like, oh, by the way, day and date's moving to Ultimate. Oh, by the way, Ultimate's price is going up. I think that really takes the punch out of the commitment. It's like you committed and acted like nothing was changing. Once again, that's sort of been Xbox's MO for the last, I would say, 24 months, is to posture and pretend like nothing's changing. Everything's going forward as planned. And then the plans have completely and utterly changed. I mean, Jason Schreier recently was on a podcast and said that nobody over there even seems to know what's going to happen because the plans just keep changing. I actually think the plans continue to change because I think Microsoft is more in charge now. I think that's indicative of that. I don't think Phil Spencer is as in the driver's seat as he once was a while ago. So, you're like, oh, I spend more on lunch daily. Well, congrats on your ability to have disposable income to spend $20 a day on lunch. One of the reasons that people are upset is also Game Pass is sort of marketed as a way to game when you might not be able to afford to buy a constant flow of new games, when you might not be able to afford, every single time a new game comes out, right? I mean, it's definitely a more economical, more budget-friendly way to play if you're trying to save money. But, again, one of the reasons that's a challenge is because you're starting to get to the place where you haven't gotten a ton of big releases at a cadence from their first party on Game Pass. And secondly, even the ones you got weren't that great. Like if you count Redfall and then you count Forza Motorsport and then you look at Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 was incredibly short, highly criticized and by a lot of fans like myself, and it was also 30 FPS on console. So a lot of the value and a lot of what they promised for Game Pass just kind of hasn't been there. And then to say, oh no, our commitment is to continue to put first-party games on Game Pass day and date, ... Well, what we really mean is Ultimate, ... Oh yes, and Ultimate's price is going up. Like, I think there are customers and consumers that have valid complaints about that, to be like, well, that doesn't sound like you're not changing and you're just going to continue to put games on Game Pass day and date. Sparking Zero. Oh, yeah. Sparking Zero, I didn't include this in the show open because it just hit Discord this morning and I was trying to grab everything. I didn't have a time to grab this one. They sold 3 million units in the first 24 hours. So that game's on pace to be one of the top-selling games of the year without a doubt. That's a really, really good number. That's impressive. Evan says, the mobile market has such a massive potential since mobile phones drastically dwarf the number of console owners. That's the carrot keeping so many dev studios pursuing a successful game on mobile. Lona, if you're not on Game Pass Ultimate, then there's no difference between Game Pass and PS Plus Extra. Nobody's comparing to PS Plus Extra. We were talking about people questioning whether or not the value of Game Pass was changing. Like, comparing it to PS Plus is irrelevant to a long-standing Xbox fan who thought that, oh, all the Call of Duties are going to come to Game Pass. Oh, man, all these games are going to be coming to Game Pass day one. And Xbox turns around and says, yes, but you need Ultimate. Oh, and Ultimate's price is going up. Oh, and by the way, none of the Call of Duties have hit Game Pass. So, like, a lot of what Xbox fans were hoping for and looking forward to has not come to fruition. So, to say, if you're not on Game Pass Ultimate, then there's no difference between Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra. That comparison's not the point, because the whole point of Game Pass up to now was games, big games day and date. That's been the selling point of Game Pass for years, right? Big games day and date. Big games day and date. That's now only true going forward on Game Pass Ultimate. That's no longer a selling point of Game Pass. So, comparing it to PS Plus when you're not on Ultimate, I mean, if you're a consumer choosing between the two, I think comparing them makes sense. Within the context of the discussion, comparing it to PlayStation Plus doesn't even make any sense, because they never promoted PS Plus as a day-and-date subscription service for big games. You know. They're coming to PlayStation anyway. Well, yeah, but you'd have to, obviously the pushback would be that you'd have to buy them. Couple of comments on the video. This guy here, the Demetrius guy, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. He says, honestly, this could work. I've always wanted to play Destiny wherever I was. And pulling out my Steam Deck in class is a no-go, so this is the next best thing. It, not being a looter shooter might be a deal breaker for some. Like, Destiny Rising not being a looter shooter, that might be a deal breaker for some people. They're like, well, it's not really Destiny, right? You're just kind of grinding and leveling stuff. You know, the biggest game Game Pass has ever had will be Call of Duty, says Alfonso. For sure. For sure. I think that'll be a big moment for Game Pass. But I also think you have to consider in that discussion what Microsoft thinks. What Microsoft thinks is far more important than what the consumer thinks. Because now that Microsoft is calling the shots, I mean, look at everything that's changed. So you really have to wonder, if they don't like the results of putting that game on Game Pass, you may see changes in the future. In class, turn the phones and devices off. Oh, I didn't even catch that. He did. He said pulling out my Steam Deck in class is a no-go. Yeah, don't pull your phone out in class either. You're there to learn. Paul turning on dad mode in the chat, scolding that guy that left that comment. Old School Gamer says, Lono, my point is that everybody keeps going on about how much of a bargain Game Pass is, but they ignore the fact that PS Plus Extra is cheaper and has the exact same thing unless you're on Game Pass Ultimate. Oh, I see the point that you were making, Old School Gamer. Okay, I understand. What you're saying is the minute that you don't want to pay for Ultimate, you're saying this other subscription service is better. That to me isn't surprising, and here's why I don't think that's surprising. They have basically made Ultimate the only real reason to be on Game Pass. That's the ultimate value. That's what they're trying to do. And that's because they hit saturation on console. Now, if you're on PC Game Pass is a far better value because they didn't raise the price as much. I think they raised it like $1 maybe, and then it still gets day and date. So PC Game Pass is the better deal than Ultimate on console because you're spending less and you're still retaining the day and date. I'm so old that we used to program great games into our graphing calculators and keep ourselves amused. That's right. Yo, it's good, Ginger. That's right. I knew a guy who was so sophisticated with his TI-83, he had a program that would trick the teacher into thinking they had deleted all programs. So, it's pretty funny. I saw your coverage video on Destiny Mobile. Why don't you think it'd be received well with the Destiny 2 community? Is the mobile versus PC comparison that bad? I don't think it'll be received that well because, number one, Destiny Rising is not a looter shooter. It's going to be character-based instead of loot-based. That could potentially lead to bad microtransactions. It could end up being a lot like a gacha game, where they're always releasing really awesome new characters that you have to pull for, which creates the gacha Genshin thing. or you have to grind for them, and then they're going to be trying to sell them to you. Like, you can grind your head off in the first Ascendant, or you can just buy the really, really good characters, right? So here's the thing. All of those things are, I think, huge turnoffs to the Destiny fan base. Like, the biggest and most glaring thing is that Destiny Rising is not a looter shooter. It isn't. They're describing it as an action sci-fi RPG shooter. They're calling it an RPG shooter, not a looter shooter. There's a reason for that. You don't get weapons to drop, you unlock them. You don't get better versions of the weapons or better rolls on the weapons, you level them up. The characters themselves can only use certain weapons. So, like, you're going to have a character that can use an auto rifle and a grenade launcher. And if you're like, oh, I want to switch to a hand cannon, you got to switch. You got to switch to another class. And if you don't, you're gonna basically be stuck with those weapons. Not only that, you can't just change your subclass. You change to another character who then has a different relic, so then they have a different super, different abilities, different perks. It's a complete and fundamental shift. A complete and fundamental shift from what makes Destiny Destiny. Are you going to play Squirrel with a Gun? I may play Squirrel with a Gun for you guys at some point this week. Also, we have an incentive. We have a new thing that we're doing. A lot of you can't make it to Friday night. We're going to start doing one of the incentives on Friday afternoon. It's spooky month, right? It's October. I was planning on waiting to play Silent Hill 2. If you guys hit the weekly goal, I will play Silent Hill this Friday afternoon. Now, I don't want to take Friday nights away from you, but we weren't getting the greatest turnout, and everybody kept saying they couldn't make it, so we're going to shift it to Friday afternoon. However, I'm willing to do a Friday evening stream, the Friday night stream where we have drinks, we have laughs. We'll make Madam play Silent Hill 2 if you guys hit the stretch goal. You guys got a ways to go. You'll have to have the big boys come in and help, or just a bunch of you are going to have to dogpile with 5 bombs and singles. But that's the goal this week. So we're trying to give you more content in a way where more of you can come. So that's what we're doing. That's the goal. That's the mission this week. XDefiant is reportedly shutting down after just 4 seasons. What did I say weeks ago when XDefiant was hemorrhaging players and they gave assurances that everything was fine? I was like, no, that you can't say that. You can't say everything's fine when you're hemorrhaging players and you can't maintain a player base. That's one more game in my corner when I continue to say, if you're going to try to do a live service PvP shooter, it is a fool's errand. It is a fool's errand. You aren't going to be able to maintain a player base. Whether it's XDefiant or the finals or Splitgate 2, we know that Bungie wants to do this thing with Marathon. We know that, Fair Games is going to be like a competitive heist game. This isn't surprising. And you have to remember, XDefiant was getting lots of praise. People liked it. People were having fun. It had a honeymoon period. It continues to happen. I continue to tell people, if you're trying to make a PvP live service game, a shooter, PvP live service shooter, you better buckle up. Because you're going to be in for a rocky ride of, hey, everybody's interested. Your game's awesome because it's fresh and new and not these other games that we're tired of. And then eventually it'll drop. It just continues to happen. Headphones are a must for Silent Hill 2. Well, if you guys want it to happen, that's the goal for the week. You're going to have to get to hustling. Double check to see if you have renewals. Consider gifting. Consider upgrading. Upgrades count as a double. There's a whole bunch of ways for you guys to move that line. It's not just by gifting. Grim Dark Truth left a comment on my video about Destiny Rising. He says, this might actually turn out to be a friendly competition and bring innovation if NetEase develops things for a mobile game version of Destiny that Destiny 2 doesn't actually have, and maybe it will drive them to actually create something new and unique for the main game. Or it will help fund Destiny 3. Like, that's my big thing. If the license agreement is good enough, and it helps kind of pad Bungie's pockets, then it could help fund Destiny 3, because I continue to think that that's going to be a challenge. What do you do with Destiny 2 And how do you fund Destiny 3? If Destiny 2's engagement's going down, if Destiny 2's spending going down, how do you keep the studio open? You know? How do you keep things moving? How do you keep things, rolling? T-Man Grove with the VIP. That's the first membership in the live today to move it. We did have somebody renew in member. We had some people renewing in members in morning coffee. Sorry. The Destiny 2 community hates the fact that Destiny Rising gets its own tier of weapons. Right, Demetrius. Yes, you left a comment. I read because your name had no punctuation on the back end, but now in chat I can see your name's Demetrius. Yeah, I read your comment out loud on the stream. You got featured. XDefiant shutdown is a rumor from Sean Weber, not confirmed. Oh, that looked like an official tweet. Hopefully this isn't true. Oh, XDefiant Play is not the official. I just saw the Twitter @ was XDefiant Play and assumed it was like an official account. Videogamer.com is the one reporting that. Okay. It wouldn't surprise me at all, honestly. It wouldn't. Zubair said, I've unsubbed from my Destiny content creators. I think it's really over for me. I mean, not a lot of reason to keep playing if you're not loving it, or watching the content. First thing that pops up on Google is the roadmap. I mean, XDefiant had a roadmap. Plenty of games have had roadmaps and then they closed down. Anthem had a roadmap. It would not surprise me at all if that rumor ends up being true. It wouldn't. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. What exactly from what you saw in Destiny Rising trailer got you excited? Was it the graphics? I haven't given any indication that I'm excited. I said it could be huge because it could help fund Destiny 3. It could be insanely popular, especially in markets where Destiny isn't that popular, especially if they can get into the Chinese market. They have a special NPC in the Korean version of Destiny 2 where they sell exotics for real money. When I quit Destiny, I also unsubbed from the YouTube content. Yo, what's good, Sven? Yeah, so I don't know what to tell you. I don't think I gave indication that I was like excited. Like that, I'll be honest with you. It sounds like a game that I would not be interested in. It's not a game I would be interested in. Number one, it's not a looter shooter. So you've already taken a huge amount of points off for my interest gauge. It's like, it's not a looter shooter? Like, what? Secondly, it's character based. I'll be real with you. I don't find games like that appealing. Yeah, we have 11 characters for you to play as. And they say the roster of Destiny Rising will continue to grow. I'm like, wait, what? That sounds like a gacha game to me. They're going to keep adding characters. If the characters are one of the additive things they keep adding, that sounds like it could turn into a gacha game. And maybe not. Maybe it'll be more like the first Ascendant and it'll be like really grindy and you need currency to unlock them and you can just buy them straight out if you want. Okay. So I think it looks good. I think it looks very promising. I think the mobile community will embrace it. I think it potentially will make Bungie a ton of money. But I have zero interest in playing the game from what I saw. I mean, I joked on Twitter about becoming a full-time Destiny Rising streamer, right? I would never consider doing that. Number one, not with a mobile game. Number two, nothing with Destiny would ever be center stage for me unless they made significant public reparations for what they did to me. I have zero desire to make them the centerpiece of anything that I do. You didn't say you were excited. I guess that was my own crafted question, but the financial incentive is a good point. Right, where I come from it on it, Pilocter, is it could fund Destiny 3. Lancelot was 17 months in a VIP, bumps the line to 56. I was wondering if we were going to get a 20 bomb on that 55 to 75. Thank you, Lancelot. Turning it into an agent of chaos. You're the best. Guys, take a quick second if you haven't already. Smash that like button. Make sure it saved your thumbs up. Roadkill's in the chat spamming thumbs up, guys. Make sure and put those on the video. Bife will probably get more out of it than Bungie. Oh, I don't think so. But there ain't no way Bife's going to be touching mobile game numbers with his YouTube videos. No way. No YouTube creators touching that level of monetization. Dude, if this game is successful on mobile, it will print money for Bungie. The show would be 2 hours of Lono fumbling with his glasses, trying to see his phone screen clearly and complaining about clouds and children. This is me as a full-time Destiny. Like, guys, this UI is trash. Like, okay. Just silently being irritable and yet also trying to have a good time. Now, somebody else left a comment on my upload about Destiny Rising. Guys, always make sure and leave comments. He says, they say, with it only being licensed out, wouldn't that mean NetEase gets the first cut of the paycheck, then PlayStation, and then Bungie? Like, what would be the order of who gets the money? Not sure, but mobile games can generate so much revenue, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, Bungie's going to be getting money for nothing. They're not working on the game. They're not spending bandwidth on the game. They're not publishing the game. They don't have to support it. They don't have to listen to you gripe and complain. It's their it's NetEase's baby. And they're just getting to scrape off a licensing deal. Yo, Demetris says, if you've seen the weapons of COD Mobile, it's not fair that the designs are limited to mobile. I suspect it'll be the same with Destiny. Thanks so much for a month of memberships. By the way, if you guys have a gifted membership and you want to upgrade to get into more content like the Green Room, it's only $1. And if 5 of you do it in a single day, if 5 of you upgrade, I'll drop a 20 bomb. I will bless the community, so consider upgrading today. It's not easy to do, but if you want to do it, we can walk you through how to do it. YouTube needs to fix that, but... Sven says, if you cover Destiny Rising, do you mind the first episode covering the fusion rifle ammo economy? Just get right back into the swing of things. Yeah, Sven, so here's the thing. I don't know if you realize this. There are no secondary weapons. So if there are fusion rifles, I'm assuming they would be the heavy ones. You either have a prime... I'm just kidding. Sven's like busily typing. I was just being sarcastic. It's a primary and a heavy. So I don't know what they're gonna do with like shotguns and snipers and fusion rifles, you know. YouTube needs to fix a lot of things. Yeah. They need to fix your B key too, apparently. Yeah. Ginger. YouTube need to fix a lot of things. YouTube. Bungie has a history of signing contracts they later want to get out of. Here's the thing, though, John. You're correct, but I don't think you're making an equivalency because they're not in a contract. They have licensed out the game to NetEase. They show a shotgun. So they've done what they did in the past then. Shotguns and snipers have been relegated to heavy, I'm assuming. Because the way that their own official blog post reads, you have a primary and a heavy. That's it. Making a shotgun primary would be kind of crazy. With the flow of combat and how many ads are usually in front of you. That's because I'm on mobile. Yeah, I know. So yeah, like what Zubair's saying. As far as we can see, Bungie doesn't have any obligations in this contract. They just licensed it out. Like, that's a great deal for them. Avatar: The Last Airbender is coming to Fall Guys. Man, Fall Guys just continues to get brand deals with big brand, like big IP. That's crazy. Guys, if you're just coming in, welcome on in. We've been discussing Destiny Rising, the Destiny mobile game announcement that just happened yesterday. We also have talked about a whole host of other things. This show is called Gaming News Today. Meaning, if there's something going on in gaming news, feel free to bring it up. If you're like, I'm not really interested in Destiny or a Destiny mobile game, you can always bring up something else. And I've been replying to some of the comments. Could be a huge flop. I mean, yeah, maybe. It's a mobile game in the East, for sure. This guy says it could be huge in the East. This person here, Junior Corporan, says this sounds to me like a Summoner's War type of game, and if it is, I'm in. If it's a gacha game, and that's okay as long as they make it like Summoner's War. The only thing that doesn't sound like Summoner's War is the shooter part. How is the monetization in that game? Would be my question. Right? I think that's a big question mark for a lot of people is, what's the monetization going to be like? Are they going to take you to the cleaners? Is it going to be like a gacha game? Is it going to be how much are they going to be doing with the spend? Wario64 on Twitter says 18 games to leave PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium in November. Ooh, there's some big ones that are leaving too. I see Red Dead, GTA San Andreas. What else? That's why. Superliminal is so good. So good. Yeah, make sure, guys, before November, play some of these games. Let me give you the list here. GTA San Andreas Definitive Edition, Red Dead Redemption 2, Sims 4 City, Dragon's Dogma Dark Horizon, a Mobile Suit Gundam, Superliminal. Check that one out for sure. Bunch of Kingdom Hearts games and that game Teardown and Blasphemous and Overcooked 2 and Moving Out. So if you haven't tried any of those games, check out Wario64 on Twitter. He's got the list, and make sure and play them before they leave in November. You've got some time. You got a couple weeks still left in October. Xbox Game Pass has tweeted, what's this saying? If you like this, the games will come sooner, maybe. Oh, they've got games coming to Game Pass. MW3 is coming to Game Pass, not... Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, it's not. It says in small print underneath of it, Cloud. Modern Warfare 3 is coming to Game Pass only on xCloud. So you got to sign up for Ultimate, and then you can play MW3 through the cloud. So I don't think you're just going to be able to install MW3. It and Call of Duty Warzone and Black Ops 6. Because then Black Ops 6 says console and PC and cloud. So yeah, MW3 and Warzone are in a different category. Warzone doesn't really matter because it's free to play. But yeah, MW3 is not. Yes, the Xbox Partner Preview. The Xbox Partner Preview is going to take place on Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. We will be co-streaming that, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss it. Make sure you take a quick second this morning. If you haven't already pressed the like button, do so. It helps this video out. Let's try to get 200 likes. I'm sure they'll make money from licensing, but I wouldn't trust them to not sign an iffy contract to get the 100 million. This is what's super interesting about the 100 million, John Always. I don't think that deal's in play anymore. I think the terms of the deal changed. So back in 2019, they were still an independent company. NetEase invested $100 million for a stake in Bungie and a seat at the board. Yo, what's good, Feed? Guys, Feed still doesn't have a membership, man. How is this possible? We got to take care of this, man. So they invest $100 million for a stake in the company, and they want a seat at the board. Okay, that's back in 2019. Now, if you go read the original announcement from NetEase, I talk about this in my upload about Destiny Rising. I said, listen, it reads like Bungie is going to be the one creating the mobile game. All of the people that talked about this back then said, yeah, Bungie received $100 million to make a mobile game. Because if you read the actual announcement from NetEase, Pete Parsons basically indicates they're going to be making these new Destiny worlds, these new Destiny experiences. They're going to be making these new Destiny worlds, these new Destiny experiences, and he uses the word incubation. We've got to start some of the incubation. Now, if you fast forward to now, we learned that they spun up a bunch of incubation projects, and it spread the company too thin. It hurt Destiny as a piece of property, and it put them into the red. And a lot of those incubation projects have been canceled or handed off to Sony. So my question is, has the entire deal changed to the point that they're going to come out and say, yeah, we're not doing anything with it anymore? It's a NetEase game. NetEase is publishing. NetEase is developing. Mario Party Jamboree scores are coming out. When's that game come out? Mario Party Jamboree Metacritic. And then we'll do OpenCritic. I see a 4 in there. Why would you give that game a 4? It has an 81. It comes out in 2 days. It has an 81 on Metacritic, and it has an 83 on OpenCritic. So I would say it's a perfectly fine score for a Mario Party game. I don't expect a Mario Party game to kind of blow the doors off, you know. I'm assuming it's good. NetEase will soon all be mobile games. Mooster Chief left a comment on my video and said, been playing Destiny for 10 years, started when I was 5. I think a mobile game is fine. I'll probably play a lot because I need more Destiny in my life. I could see it being a big hit, but I also, again, just wonder, will Destiny fans be turned off by the fact that it's not a looter shooter? You know? It's not a looter shooter. It really makes me wonder if you're going to see, you know, people kind of turn their nose up to it and say, yeah, this really isn't my jam because there's no loot to chase. You know? There's no loot to chase. Yeah. Sony, I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it again. Or alter it further, as Noe says. Anyways. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome on in. We've been talking about Destiny Rising, the Destiny mobile game. We've also been talking about some other of the news elements with Xbox Game Pass and Call of Duty and some other things that have been reported. Review scores are in for a game called Mario Party Jamboree. Dominic with 37 months and a member plus. The member goal's slowly moving this week. You guys crushed it last week. This week we have a whole new incentive. We will do the Friday incentives in the afternoon so more of you can come. You can make me play Silent Hill 2 this week. And then if you hit the stretch goal, Madam will play it Friday night. It's not for us Destiny nerds. It's for new players. I would argue, Def Side, when you say new players, I would say new mobile players. It's not just for new players, like people that are like, yeah, you know, I've never really tried Destiny. I think it's time for me to give Destiny a try. I think it's quite literally for people who are on mobile. I would even put mobile first. It's for mobile gamers first and foremost. It's designed for mobile gamers before it's been designed for like anybody who maybe has been like on the fence about Destiny as a franchise for the last decade or so. Yeah, Liza P is going to be PlayStation 5 Pro Enhanced. Yeah, I saw that. If Mario Party was amazing, then no one would have any friends. I think all the Mario parties are fun. Obviously, you know, Super Mario Party Jamboree could turn into a Friday afternoon or Friday night stream if you guys want to do it. But this month the theme is scary games, spooky games. Coyote Monsoon with a 17-month membership. Do you think Xbox will start pulling out of hardware in more markets in the coming year? It seems like that's the plan, even though everybody tried to hush the Saudi Arabia situation. As usual, those who are quick to dismiss anything negative about Xbox end up learning a pretty hard lesson that, you know, spin and obfuscation don't last more than 24 hours now. It's like everybody tried to act like that was made up, fake. The one Saudi Arabian blogger was like accused of grifting, and it was like they were literally just telling people what was going on. So it wouldn't surprise me at all, yes, if they pull out of more regions. You know, I saw somebody on Twitter saying that they were hearing folks say that this is because they're anticipating a new console releasing. But even if the best rumors are to be believed that like Xbox Next is coming in 2026, you wouldn't start pulling out of regions at the end of 2024. You especially wouldn't be pulling out of regions right before fourth quarter. Like right before the holidays, right before the Game Awards, right before a lot of your big marketing pushes, right before Indiana Jones comes out. Like, I don't think you would be pulling out of regions because you're like, yeah, you know, in 2 years we've got new hardware coming. Like, I don't think that theory makes any sense at all from a business standpoint. And I also don't think you would see that happen until you're a whole lot closer to the release of something. To me, it is a response to sales, undeniable sales decline. You know, like that's what I think is going on. Like, I don't think that it's I don't think it's an issue with like, oh, they're doing new hardware or they're leaving hardware. I don't think so. It's a strategic move. You're kidding, by the way. Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's I mean, at one level, it is a strategic move. It is a strategic move. It's like they're not selling. The hardware is not going anywhere. It's not doing a good job. It's in a straight decline, and I think they increased the decline. I think they increased the decline. Guys, take a quick second, and if you just tuned in, hit subscribe so you can talk in my chat. Would love to hear what you think about any of the latest gaming news. There's been a couple of things hitting the feeds already today. If you see anything or want to ask about anything, be sure to put it in the chat. Also, be sure to smack the like button. Lot of you here right now. We want to hear from you. If you're like, I'm not interested in the topic, that's totally fine. Bring up a different one. Submit a question as a member. There's all sorts of ways you guys can contribute to the conversation. I'll actually clear that question queue out. We had a couple in there from yesterday that we've already answered. We answered those yesterday. That is something reserved for members only. Also, Coyote Monsoon, if you're paying for your own membership, remember that it's $1 to bump up and you get into all of the extra content. The green room especially, a lot of people have been enjoying. Danaheim with 2 months. There it is. Member pluses count toward the goal. Welcome back in, Danaheim. 58 members on the week. Bungie, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke? Don't you guys have phones? No. This is actually something that people have been anticipating for a while because there was a very, very clear indication that there was going to be some type of a mobile game from Bungie or from Destiny a couple of years ago, because in 2019 is when NetEase did the investment. But then about a month ago, Destiny Rising as a name, it leaked. So people knew that there was a Destiny mobile game coming. Yo, what's good, Bellix? How are you? Been a while. Haven't seen you in a while. Lono, when do we get a Stellar Blade soundtrack cosplay? You do not get a Stellar Blade soundtrack cosplay from me. No. JG from Space says, I'm curious to see Microsoft's marketing pitch for their next hardware. Like, how do they convince anyone to buy the next Xbox? I think it's going to have to be a unique piece of hardware. It can't just be another console, which is why I think the sideload PC hybrid or a handheld, it'll be something in those lines. Like, the reason I think Sarah Bond said biggest technical leap or technological leap is I think they're going to focus more on having a different piece of technology, not just doing another console. Crazy schedule going on, hard to be around. No worries, always good to see you guys that support the channel. You can always go back and watch the VODs as well. That helps out. Bear says, who the blank asked for that? Who asked for what? Broken Earth says, I don't know how to feel about Destiny Rising. I know Bungie probably didn't have to do much in terms of work on the game itself, but still. What did Sneaky Wolf say? Me, Teehee? Oh, the Stellar Blade soundtrack cosplay. Oh, yeah, Zubair's getting very, very angry. Yeah. That's a good point. It has to be unique in some way. Yo, what's good, 187? Right, like, I don't think you can come to the market and say, oh, we have a console that's going to hit this threshold of power. They clearly have given up that fight. I mean, they're going to be putting... when Diablo 4 revealed that it would be PlayStation 5 Pro Enhanced, that to me is the complete and utter abandonment of the power fight. Excuse me. I don't think they're interested in the power fight. They lost it. They didn't make any headway on that this gen at all. Like, I know these guys are trying to run with everything they can that are still bleeding green, and they're still like, oh, the Series X is better at this, or oh, the PlayStation 5 Pro is only stronger than the Series X by like a teeny bit. Okay. We'll wait for the side-by-side comparisons, right? We'll wait for the side. Right now, we've got really great side-by-side comparisons of games, that are first-party compared to the standard PS5 and the Pro. We'll wait until we can compare actual games that are multi-plat as well. Yo, what's good, Detective Seeds? Always fun when you have a tweet get like 500,000 views, isn't it? Yeah, that's fun. Oh, brother. Man. Well, Hopefully it's more good than bad, dude. Demetra says, went back and heard your comments on my gameplay in class. I get what you're saying, but some of these professors literally just read off the slides for like 2 hours. I can do that myself. Well, yeah. Yeah, if you're getting like a phoned in lecture that's not worth a darn, I can see why you would zone out for sure. Why does this crap even matter, says Liquid Smoke? If Xbox was better at any point, why would they actually, at any point, why have they fought to maintain third place for the last 20 years? It's over 1 million now. Oh, did it go up? I saw it this morning, hit 500,000, and I was like, okay. Like, I saw last night you getting a little bit of heat, but then I saw Drama Alert tweeted about it, and I was like, oh boy. I was like, buckle the frick up, Detective Seeds. Oh, yeah, 1.5 million. Whoo! Oh, brother. What's it doing for your, are you getting like followers from it? I was hoping you would get some support, like not necessarily trying to be like tribalistic and choose a side here, but I was like, hey man, he's a man of principle, you know? You got to respect that, you know? You got to respect that. Yeah, I can't tell on Social Blade. As a college professor, hard agree on that comment. Right? Right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, listen, man, if you're just going to read through the lecture, bro, I'm going to show up and play some video games. You know, I can read the book later. I tell you what the life hack would be. Is you record the lecture, and while the lecture is being recorded, you work on other things. And then you listen to the lecture later at like 1.75 speed and grab out the notes that you think are important and pertinent. Yeah. Don't tell your college professors I said to do that. Like, I'm actually friends with some seminary professors and the dean of we're going to have to edit this out in post. That life hack just came to me. I was like, you know what you could do? Just be present for the lecture, record the lecture, be actively typing and working on like a paper or something else. And everyone's like, that guy's really paying attention. And then just listen to the lecture later. You know what I mean? At 1.75, you know, really maximize your time, boys, you know? The best-selling Xbox console was the Xbox 360, and Xbox still lost that generation. Got narrowly beaten by the PS3 in the end. Yeah, it was like at the end, wasn't there a big price drop that helped the PS3 or something? I didn't pay much attention to the industry back then. I heard there's copyright issues recording professors. Oh, is there? What? How? Maybe because you're paying. It might depend on the state that you live in. Yeah. I should get a tape recorder for this. Yeah, just get a digital recorder or something. I like where I went to school, nobody would have cared if you recorded a lecture. Why is this guy taking such furious notes while the professor is telling us a story about a cute thing his kids did? He's just like typing away. Furiously typing, you know. He's like, what are you taking notes on there, bud? Man. I was a roofing crew by 10th grade, and sayonara to the rest of my life. Hey, man. There's no copyright issue there unless you're maybe selling it. Yeah, if it's for your own personal use, I can't think there's a copyright infringement. Yeah, you can't copyright information. Yeah, a professor lecturing on like the history of the, you know, the Mesopotamian era in 1st century or something, you can't be like, yeah, you can't record this. The price drop happened when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, and it continued when the PS3 Slim came out. Okay, yeah. I remember we looked into that once, like the different consoles and why the PS3 came surging back, why it struggled in the beginning, and it was basically a pricing thing. Yeah, I wasn't on PlayStation back then. I was an Xbox guy. I was on 360, then I was on the Xbox One, then I got a Xbox One X. Yeah, and then I think it was late 2017 and into 2018 is when I finally got a gaming PC, because I was playing Destiny 2 on... I wanted to play Destiny 2 on PC along with Fortnite for the better frame rate. Yeah, the PS3 basically soft relaunch with Uncharted, Last of Us, GTA 4. It took off and it was over for PS3 360. Interesting. Interesting that you could come surging back with price and some strong exclusives, right? I remember. I think Jez Corden from Windows Central was one of the people that pushed back on Phil Spencer's comments on the Kinda Funny podcast when he was like, "We can't out console Sony." And he was like, why wouldn't you at least try? Like, what? You know what I'm saying? But, like, if they would have just had the Series X this gen, I think they could have made a go at that. They could have dropped the price of the Series X, dropped some banger first-party, really awesome next-gen games, but they just haven't been able to do that. They haven't been able to hit that cadence, and their games haven't been dropping at the greatest of quality. So it's just like there was no shot. If you're okay with dropping, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 games, that's not what it takes. Like, you need those games that push the needle, and a price drop also, I think, would have helped. But they seemingly had other plans, and those other plans, I think, largely come from Microsoft. I continue to think that Microsoft stepped in and said, "I'm the captain now. This is what we're doing. This is the route that we're taking." There's an argument that the lecture is a performance, so it could be subject to licensing. All I had to do was just ask to get permission once for each lecture, and all was good. Yeah, and if you also agree to only use it for personal use, I can't imagine any professor saying otherwise. They obviously be like, yeah, don't put it on YouTube, though. I think that's fair. Like, if you record every lecture and then upload those to YouTube, like, you're literally undercutting what that guy is, basically being paid to do, and what the college is charging for. So I think in that regard, they could come after you and say, hey, you can't do that. But if you're like, yeah, it's just for my personal use. Agreed, Lono. The Series X with a better Halo, new Gears, and one or two other bangers would have kept them in the game, especially paired with a price drop. Can't drop the prices, says Eugene. Manufacturing hasn't really decreased costs, and any cost decrease would have been eaten up by global inflation. I mean, I suppose that's true, Eugene. They might not have been in a position to do it, but they could, at the very least, they could have, dropped some, strong titles late gen like they did with PS3. I mean, if it changed things for PS3, then it could certainly, change things for. Could certain things change things for Xbox this gen as well. Why does he not think they were trying before? Well, I'm not sure what you're asking about, Gavin. I really don't see why there needs to be a division for the PlayStation and the Xbox fans, says Exile. Both doing well only serves to give better games for gamers. It's kind of a stupid thing to be competitive over. Well, here's what's funny. Exile. I was constantly calling Xbox to be better in the lead up to the ABK trial, during the ABK trial, and after. And hardcore Xbox fans attacked me instead of holding Xbox accountable or asking for better for them, because they're zealots. They're not actual fans. Like, if you're actually a fan of something, I covered Destiny for half of a decade, and I spent most of my content being critical and asking better and talking about ways to improve things because I was a fan of the game. Nobody ever came to me and said, just shut up and accept it, or you're just a hater, or anything like that, because it was clear. It's like, no, I wanted things to be better. But ignorant zealots who didn't know who I was just presumed and assumed that, oh, someone's being critical of Xbox, they are a pony. And it's like, no, I'm a long-standing Xbox fan, and I'm very disappointed with where things are. I'm very disappointed with the performance I've received. I'm very disappointed with the Series S. Like, there's all these things that really irritated me. And I think a lot of the Xbox fans are catching up. They're catching up and saying, yeah, I'm disappointed too. This is not what I wanted. They're switching, right? How many people have you seen just this year, in the last 10 months, how many people have you seen switch allegiance? Now, there are still the hardcore, dyed-in-the-wool, bleed-green zealots that just will not budge. They're going down with the ship. They don't care. But a bunch of others have been like, oh, no, yeah, I'm very disappointed in where things ended up. And they're switching. they're switching their allegiance, they're switching to a different console, and it's really hard to do that because they feel like they're leaving behind their library. It was easy for me because I still have my Series X. I have a growing library on Steam. I've been showing you guys Steam games more lately in sort of this dry spell that we're in right now. I've been showing you guys games like Witchfire. I've been showing you games like Realm of Ink and Nimrods and Deep Rock Galactic Survivor and Death Must Die. I've been showing you like smaller, lesser known titles in the green room because we're in a bit of a drought right now from big titles. But see, that's a unique position though, to be able to just like, I can add to a library wherever I want. A lot of people aren't in the position to be able to do that. Some of the reason I think these individuals for the last 2 years had a zealot-like, cult-like almost response to me being critical of Xbox was because they didn't feel they had a choice. They're like, no, this is where I am. This is where my games are. This is my system. This is it. And so they're just like, I'm stuck with Xbox. I think it's gotten to a point where a lot of them are just like, there's no reason to stay here anymore. Yeah, another person just yesterday, made it into a bunch of reaction content because they got a pro and they're like, yeah, it seems like they're switching sides. I don't really care. I never really had a side. I had all of them and I want all of them to do really, really well. It's why when PlayStation brings games to Steam and they require the PSN login for a single-player game, I get critical because I'm a fan of the property and I want it to do well on Steam. I don't give a frick. I'm not going to defend PlayStation because I've had more games and a better time with them this gen. I'm like, no, I think that's dumb and you shouldn't do it. My allegiance has never been to a particular brand. It's always been to where I'm going to get the best experience, as well as I want the players to have the best experiences as well. So if you were, dyed in the wool for Xbox this gen, and you thought me being critical of them or thinking that the acquisition was a bad idea, I think now you're starting to see why I thought those things. It's just undeniable that the shift and the strategy change hasn't gone well for you as the consumer, as the diehard fan. Fair enough, trust me, I understand being disappointed recently. I used to be Xbox only. Now I just want good games no matter what system it's on. Right, and I think that evolution, Exile, is one that a lot of people are going through right now. You gotta get into JRPGs, Lono, no droughts there. Yeah, some games just don't, I just can't get over there's just certain things I'm just never gonna vibe with. That dude will never switch sides. He'll just buy Microsoft games and downplay the PlayStation ones. Listen, that's fine. Like, if that's someone's brand, if that's someone's currency, and that's how, they get people to watch them, I mean, that's their choice. That's their choice. I only ever got frustrated at the personal attacks. I don't give a frick if you're that loyal to Xbox, dude. Go off, King. Play Hellblade 2 18 times this year. Doesn't matter to me. I was always annoyed by the dishonesty, the obfuscation, and the personal attacks because that has nothing to do with the games. I never made a single video and personally attacked somebody or went after them because of their views or their obfuscation or their dishonesty, and they all deserved it. They all should have been ripped up one side and down the other for how they covered the ABK trial. But I wasn't interested in that. I don't think that kind of content's worth making. I made one video where I was critical of a Windows Central article, right? And then everybody clipped me and were throwing my clips in the face of Jez Cord and Tom Warren. And then they both got angry and they drudged up a bunch of crap from 2020 that's not true. And thankfully, Jez and I buried the hatchet and he deleted the tweets. We never really spoke with Tom Warren, but Tom Warren's outfit never fully investigated the situation either. Just complete lack of journalistic investigative integrity for his outlet as well as himself to drudge it up and not even know the details of it. But it's like, that was the response. It was like, oh, this guy's being critical and wants better coverage of the ABK deal. Let's attack him personally. Let's defame and slander him. That's your gaming news media response to a lot of this, and I think that trickles down. I think a lot of the podcasts and a lot of the content creators have just followed suit. That's how they handle their content. Lono sadly won't get on the JRPG train. I do very much appreciate he's one of the few gaming creators that gives them fair coverage. I mean, I'll mention them and talk about them, but they're just not my jam, dude. Can't get into them. Have to confirm this appointment. They have like an auto texting thing where I get my hair cut, and they like automatically push it out and say, hey, reminder, you have an appointment, please confirm. It's actually really smart so that people, number one, don't forget, and if they have to change their plans, you can let them know. There's the people clipping you I've seen crying more than I ever would have liked to. Let them cry. Let them continue to tell every algorithm on the internet that I'm more relevant than them. Like, that's fine. Like, everybody that covers a video game does it because, or a topic, right? You do it because it's more relevant than you are. That's the whole dynamic of YouTube. You're like, oh, I'm going to talk about World of Warcraft. I'm going to talk about Call of Duty. Well, what you're doing is you're grabbing something that's more relevant than you are and making content with it, right? So when somebody constantly makes content about another person, they're passively admitting that someone's more relevant than they are. Like, it's the most wonderful passive self-admittance a person could make. Let them. Go for it. I don't care. You warned everybody the ABK deal and nobody would listen. Yeah, and I kept saying throughout that year, I was like, I'm on your side. You keep spitting in my face, but I was an Xbox guy turned critical, and now they're all turning critical too. Not every one of them, but a lot of them have turned critical too. And it's like, oh, so you're allowed to do it. Yeah, you're allowed to do it. So I guess they're all ponies now, right? According to the logic. I got a question here from one of the members. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like button. You can submit questions. Make sure you hit subscribe, gift a member, renew a member, upgrade your membership. Those are all great ways to support the channel. We're going to need to kick it into high gear for the goal this week if we're going to hit it. Liquid Smoke says, which Tomb Raider origin did you like the most? I just picked up the trilogy on sale over the weekend. The first two. Yeah, the first two. I did not like the third one. So they switched studios. They switched to a different team for the third Tomb Raider. And the third Tomb Raider was like super linear. I encountered a lot of bugs and glitches. I didn't even finish it. Right? I didn't even finish it. I was like, this is such a departure from the first two games. So if you get that Tomb Raider trilogy, I'm just going to give you fair warning. If you play 1 then 2, you're like, oh, this is so great. You're going to go into 3 and you're going to be like, yo, what the frick happened? Different studio, different vision, different direction for the game. The third one is just not, it's just not nearly as good. So Metaphor seemed really good, though I only played the demo. Problem is that on hard, the game wants you to return to town after exploring the dungeon to restock, and you can't do it in the demo because it ends. I enjoyed the third as much as the other two, says Sven. Well, I mean, what's the third one called? Is it called Shadow of the Tomb Raider? Is Shadow of the Tomb Raider the third one? Yeah, that's the third one. What's the first two called? Guaranteed. I guarantee review scores agree with me. Guaranteed. Is the first one just called Tomb Raider? I can't remember what they called them. There was Rise of the Tomb Raider. Is Rise of the Tomb Raider the first one? Shadow, Rise, and what's the first one called? This has got to be it from 2013. No, this is like the original. Yeah, this is like the original, like a remaster or something. Oh, no, maybe it's not. Oh, no. Yeah, this is the right one. Yeah, it released in 2013. Yeah. Everybody agrees with me. First game, 86 on Metacritic, 84 from the users. Rise of the Tomb Raider, 86 on Metacritic, 8.1 from the users. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the one I think is the worst, 75 on Metacritic, 7.3 from the users. It dropped by 10 whole points. And even that's generous. A lot of people are saying, you know, it's good, but way weaker than the previous game. You know, that's a 60. The worst of the trilogy, says this person with the 4. Yeah. If you enjoyed the third one, man, that's great. I'm happy for you. But the review scores, the user scores, all agree with me. The first 2 were great. Third one, huge thumbs down. I'm telling when they're wrong. I'm telling you that you're wrong, Sven. You're wrong for enjoying it. I want you to replay the game, and I want you to be angry and miserable the whole time, all right? If that's not the way you played the third Tomb Raider, then you played it the wrong way. Didn't Rise get Xbox exclusivity? One of them had timed exclusivity, and it came out like the same day as Fallout 4 or something. Was that the second game or the first one? I can't remember. I think that was the second one. I think so. Tomb Raider's woke, yeah. Dragon Age Inquisition PC specs, or I'm sorry, what's this? I guess we would call this PC requirements have dropped. With ray tracing off, Ultra 2160, Ultra in-game graphics preset, they're recommending a 4080. You can go ray tracing off 1080-60, and they're recommending a 2070. So, yeah. Interested to see what performance is like on console. Oh, did I say Dragon Age Inquisition? Sorry. Dragon Age the Veilguard. I always do that. Guys, we got the Dragon Age Inquisition PC requirements from 10 years ago. Breaking news. You know, decade-old game. No, sorry. I always do that with Dragon Age. Not bad. I don't know, man. Isn't the 2070, isn't that the card that a lot of people were saying the consoles were close to? Read the other screenshot. Oh, what's the... Oh, you posted 2 screenshots in the Discord. Hang on, it won't open. Oh, there it goes. All right, hang on. Let me get this other screenshot up here for you guys. My Google history is taking forever to sync. You know what I need to do? Just open freaking Discord on this computer. Come on, Lono. Think like a smart person. Our detailed specifications include settings for both ray tracing on and ray tracing off so that players will know what to expect at launch. Players with high-end rings will be able to take advantage of our suite of ray tracing features and uncapped frame rates. For the minimum PC specs, we focus on making the game accessible for as many people as possible. For consoles, there will be fidelity and performance modes, targeting 30 and 60 respectively. Veilguard will also be specifically enhanced for the PlayStation 5 Pro. Check out a quote from our technical director below. We're excited to see how Dragon Age The Veilguard will lean into the power of the PS5 Pro unlocks for players. Whether you love deep progression, strategic combat, or diving into the lore of Dragon Age, you will immediately notice the improved experience with the PS5 Pro. The game's fidelity and performance modes will both see improvements on the hardware, including improved resolution in 30 fidelity and 60 FPS performance modes. Additionally, there will be various improved visual settings across 30 fidelity and 60 performance modes. The team at BioWare is proud of how immersed players will be when they enter the beautiful worlds Thedas with upgraded image quality thanks to Sony's new AI-based upscaler PSSR. We've enabled ray trace ambient occlusion, RTAO, in the 60 FPS performance mode, which previously was only available in the base PlayStation 5 30 FPS mode. So they've added ray tracing to the performance mode, and they're using the PSSR. So another game company doing exactly what I predicted would happen. I said devs are going to want to leverage this tech. They're going to like the idea of being able to do more, get more. This guy says here, according to data, I believe said it'd be a looter shooter, same as Destiny, as the characters would be different. The official blog post literally says the opposite. I don't really have a hoot and a holler of care what a YouTuber says. The official Destiny Rising blog post says that you will unlock gear. and then you will level up the gear. Nothing in that blog post about Destiny Rising indicates it's a looter shooter. It literally doesn't even call it a looter shooter. They call it a sci-fi, an action sci-fi RPG shooter. An RPG shooter is not a looter shooter. The game is telling you you're going to unlock guns and abilities, perks, skills, or whatever, and then you're going to level them up. That's an RPG shooter. That's not a looter shooter. I don't think you're going to be like getting a bunch of loot to pop out of the enemies. I mean, listen, I could be wrong. Maybe you unlock guns by finding them, but I don't think I've ever heard a looter shooter refer to getting guns as unlocking guns. That's not a phrase you would use. What does the official channel of the company know? I mean, besides what the company is actually doing and thinking. Yeah, I don't think if you were making a looter shooter, you wouldn't use the phrase. Number one, I don't think you would refer to your game as an RPG shooter. I think you'd call it a looter shooter. Number two, I don't think you would use the phrase unlock. You would find the weapons. You're going to go loot the weapons and the gear. They also didn't say anything about armor. That's another huge aspect of looting in Destiny 2 and Destiny 1. So unless he's got inside information, I don't think it's going to function even remotely close to how the loot tables work in Destiny 1 or 2. Great article up suggesting those with VR headsets are going to be an absolute banger of games coming the rest of the year. Can't wait to play on my Xbox VR headset, I think you meant to say. I'm not sure what you... I mean, I'm assuming you're memeing about the Xbox VR headset. What... where did you see this article? Who wrote it? I think the biggest problem with the PSVR 2 has been the lack of first-party games from PlayStation for it. That's been probably the biggest weak point. There's no killer app. There's no thing where you like, oh, you've got to get this and play this. Now, No Man's Sky did a bunch of amazing updates, and it's probably one of the best games to showcase the PSVR 2 along with like Gran Turismo 7. But yeah, I don't know. Am I going to play Batman Arkham Shadow? I mean, maybe. My biggest problem is my game time's very limited, so I have to clear currently where I was doing my MetaQuest gaming sessions, like where my wife's like built a library for my kids on the other side of the on the other side of the finished. We have an unfinished side of the basement and a finished side, and the finished side is like where I'm at. Also, we have like a TV entertainment area, and then on the other side, we have like a library that she's building for the kiddos. Well, there's a bunch of stuff there now, like boxes and a table and board games, and so I don't really have a place to do VR right now. I was playing Asgard's Wrath 2 on my MetaQuest over there for maybe an hour a night, and I was really enjoying it. So maybe. My struggle right now is I have a backlog of games, and I usually chisel away at them on my couch comfortably. I'm almost done with this curriculum that I've been writing every night, so I'll get back into my backlog after this week because it's like a 15-week... It'll probably end up being like a 15 or 16-week curriculum I was writing for my church that it was way more than I expected it to be. It was supposed to be like a 6 to 8 week thing, and it doubled, so... That's just been eating up a lot of my time in the evenings as well. Metro and Alien look really good. Definitely snagging those at some point. Yeah, the Alien game, Metro game, those also look really, really good. I just unfortunately, VR is there's all these extra steps I have to take to play, and I just very limited time right now. And I've really enjoyed playing games with you guys as well in the afternoons, like just checking out these smaller indie titles on Steam. That's been really fun. Checking out VR games with you guys, again, it's just like there's all these extra steps, and I prefer to showcase games to you that more of you will likely be able to play or be interested in. A lot less of you even got into VR other than like Eugene and Butters and maybe 2 or 3 other people. Very, very few people here even do VR. So the global launch, no third-party DRM. That's good for Dragon Age Veilguard. Global launch is going to be October. Wait, Xbox gets it first? Huh. Xbox Series X and X can play on October the 14th. So they're getting... What? Why? I've not seen that. That's a good headline for Xbox. Is that 2 weeks of early access? Why have I not seen that in more places? Xbox can play on October the 14th. PlayStation 5 gets to play on the 29th. The global launch for Dragon Age Veilguard is the 31st. Oh, those are preloads. Oh, these are the preload times below. I was like, what the frick? I was like, that's 2 weeks of early access. Can't read? Well, I didn't read the sentence. I just looked at the map. I saw all the different time zones, and I looked down below and saw Xbox and PlayStation. I was like, huh? Yeah, that's preload, my bad. I was like, what the frick? I was like, that's crazy. Everybody's freaking out. They're like, it's preload, Lono, you idiot. Listen, you guys have been around long enough to know I don't frickin' read, bro. Who has time to read? Listen, reading is woke, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to be one of these beta male, weak eyeballed reading, like, you know, information to change and inform what I think. Like, why would I do that? That sounds woke, bro. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like some kind of an agenda to make me smarter. I'm not about that, bro. I'm not about that life, okay? I'm about staying dumb. So let's go ahead and run with the headline. We'll make a video tomorrow talking about Dragon Age Veilguard coming to Xbox 2 weeks early, and we'll do a retraction later in the comment section, and we'll get a lot of views, though. That'd be great. That'd be some good money. Let's go. That's just that guy that doesn't read. That's my kind of guy, dude. You know, he's not down with information and stuff. I really hate reading, especially in video games. Oh, I really hate reading in video games. My wife and I were playing Cat Quest 3 the other night, and I'm just like, click, 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 click. And she's like, I think you can just hold X. And down in the corner, it did. It said hold X. And I was like, I held it, and it was like, bing, 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 bing. It like speeds through the dialogue. I told her, I was like, I don't know why there's so much dialogue in this game. Like, it's a pretty straightforward game. You know, Cat Quest 3. Maybe if you guys hit the stretch goal, we'll show you Cat Quest 3 on Friday night. You can make me play Silent Hill 2 this week if you hit the goal. If you hit the stretch goal, Madam has to play it on Friday night. You guys are going to have to really hustle. We are once again falling way behind. You guys went crazy on Friday, and we had an amazing time Friday night showing you guys some of the games that we've been playing, like Ember Knights. So you guys want to keep that going? We will gladly do that extra content for you. We have a lot of fun hanging out with y'all. Let's see here. What's Lone Wolf saying? One of the best jokes I ever made. Says that while having a theology degree that required a lot of reading. Hey, buddy, I have 2 degrees. I'll have you know, a bachelor's and a master's. And they're somewhere around here. I've never actually read them, though. I don't know what they actually say. But I have 2 degrees, Lone Wolf. Get it right. And I love debating bad faith video game arguments. It's such a great experience. I want you to play Silent Hill. You better put the bat signal out. Degrees in quotations. Zubear puts them in quotations. Sure, Jan. Sure, degrees. Oh. Oh, man. What is this life that we live, chat? Let's get 50 more likes on the video. Let's get 300 likes. Come on. Come on. That means they brainwash you. I'm told that happens. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know, and that makes it worse. I was trying to be charitable. Brother. I read every document in the game until I eventually give up. You get to like the 3rd book in Skyrim and you're like, I can't do it. I can't. It's too much. It's too much reading. I forget. I saw a video of somebody who was like literally collecting every book and they had them all on like a shelf. I think that was Skyrim. Was that Skyrim? Anyway. I know you worked hard and you learned a lot, but let's not be so fast and loose with the language. Yeah, settle down there, Turbo. I want to wait for the Pro for Silent Hill. That's exactly what I was going to do. I was going to wait for the Pro, but with it being spooky, it being October, I was like, all right, I'll play it early if you guys, bring the heat with the members. So, listen, double check the $. You may have a renewal. We haven't even gotten to the point where I have to do 5 members today. It's come to a screeching halt. So if you guys have membership renewals, do it. I'm not gonna browbeat people. That's there as a weekly thing that we do for extra fun, for extra content. So the only thing I ever ask daily is like, hey, make sure you're hitting like, make sure you're here listening and lurking. That keeps the engine going. I mean, we basically live off the memberships because I do this full time. I'm not living off the ad revenue, boys. That's an elite group of people on YouTube when you get to that level. And we are not that group. We're not part of that club. Plug the Quarry stream. Still one of the best Friday night streams. Yeah, we have a Quarry playlist. My wife and I played through that. That was really fun. That was a good time. I picked up every skull and wine bottle I came across. I mean, when my wife played Starfield, she didn't even make it through the first mission. She picked up everything and gave them to Ross Bosco, or whatever his name is, the robot, and he got weighed down and couldn't walk. She gave him so much crap. There we go. Tremolo with a member plus renewal. He says, do the thing. And Gavin gifts a member. And Hex renews his VIP. Let's get the counter moving. I want to see Lono get the crap scared out of him. And Dirge does a VIP renewal. I swore I already did this. Well, you probably did, but the month probably rolled over. So there we go. There's 4 right there. Guys, don't miss out on the opportunity to celebrate those renewals. Those count. Those count in the total. You don't have to be gifting members every single month. That's why I've encouraged people, upgrade to Member Plus. You get to add to the count every single month when you renew. And when you upgrade, we count it as 2. We count it as 2. A lot of people are like, man, I can't gift a member. Well, when you do Member Plus, it's basically like gifting a member every month. You're giving up your seat to somebody else, and your renewals count in the total. I didn't know you could do that with the NPCs. I don't know if anybody knew you could do that. People in chat were shocked. They were like, wait, what? He's weighed down? Like, he couldn't walk. She picked up everything. She went to every desk, every locker. She wouldn't stop. She picked up every single thing. I was like, babe, what are you doing? So whenever I'd say Starfield, she's like, oh, is that the game with all the trash? Like, yep, that's the game with all the trash that you picked up and shoved inside of the robot. Yeah, that's what it is. These whippersnappers don't know how we did things in our day, climbing up hills of 6-foot snow with no shoes just to play Pac-Man. Did Madam grow up during the Great Depression? No. She's actually younger than me. I'll tell you why she does it, Zubair. Every game we play, if we're playing Cult of the Lamb, if we're playing Ember Knights, she will scold me if I leave any box undestroyed, any blade of grass uncut. She will scold me. And I'm like, come on, let's just go to the next room. And every time, she will say to me 2 words. She will say backpack upgrade. Because I wish I was able to record or screenshot or do it at the time, right? I wish I would have been able to record this and document this. We were playing Borderlands 1. And Borderlands 1 is notorious for, maybe not notorious, it's known for, if you want to increase your backpack and get a backpack upgrade so you can carry more stuff, you have to find these little, injured claptraps and you repair them, and they give you an item called a backpack upgrade. You go into your inventory, you do it, and it expands your backpack. I kid you not, I don't know how the loot table did this. I don't know if it's a very low drop rate, if it was a bug, or what. We were in the area of Borderlands 1 where there's just mounds of trash and there's like little things that you can open. They look like dumpsters. Sometimes they're next to buildings. Sometimes they're like half buried in like the edge of a trash heap hill, right? And whenever I played Borderlands with her, she was super, super obsessive about opening up every single thing. Every locker, every box, every tackle box, everything must be opened. That's how she plays, okay? And out popped from one of these dumpsters, I remember I saw it on her screen on split screen, and I was like, what? It was sitting there in the dumpster. It was a backpack upgrade. I couldn't believe it. Now, there was a duping trick in Borderlands 1, and you couldn't do the duping trick with the backpack upgrade. Like, once she picked it up, it was in her inventory, and we couldn't do anything with it. So, her character always had a slightly larger backpack than mine. So, every game we play, I'm like, can we just please go to the next room? And she's like, backpack upgrade. And she's just hitting and wailing on all of it. She just opens up everything. I don't think someone got my joke on the upload. What'd they say? Play on phone, emulator on PC. Oh gosh, they're taking your comments serious. Yo, Xanatos with 26 months bumps the line with the membership renewal and takes us to 63. Thank you so much. Best channel for gaming news. So refreshing not having to deal with clickbait titles anymore. Thank you. Wait. Are you saying we used to do clickbait titles, Xanatos? Or are you saying that's what's on YouTube and you don't have to deal with it here? I don't feel like we ever have done clickbait titles. She would love Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah. You're the same way in Borderlands. It's how she's always played ever since. That was like the first serious game we ever played. We played Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. We played Castle Crashers. There's all these games that we had fun playing. But buddy, when we played Borderlands 1, it like turned something on in her brain. And it's like, what are you doing? That's fascinating. Does the same behavior manifest in real life? I mean, we're the exact opposite in many ways, and she is super hyper-focused attention to detail. Like you guys know, I don't read. I'll gloss over things, misread things, like I did just moments ago with Dragon Age of Veilguard preload times. And she's always like, read, dude, read the whole thing. And she did an exceptional job as like an inventory manager for an AT&T store. She was like really, really good at it. I would have hated it. I was in sales rep position at a different store. And I think that's one of the reasons she does such a good job with like homeschooling our kids. She'll organize and help with events and stuff at our church. And everybody's always like, she's great at it. She's like super, super organized. So I think that meticulousness and orderliness of her brain makes her say, this all needs to be checked. Check every box. Check everything. And I'm like, no, just go. Let's just go to the next thing. You know, because I'm big picture. Yeah, we opened up enough. Let's go to the next thing. Let's do the next thing. I remember I was going to do co-op in Diablo 1 with a guy. He was in my Quake 3 clan. And he was like, listen, if we're going to play, we open up everything. We check every corner. We check every nook and cranny. He's like, I don't want to run past everything. And so we always double back, you know? And I do think that I remember when we played Diablo 3, she was the same way. We wanted to clear the map before moving to the next area. But I think we played Diablo 3 after we had played Borderlands 1. I don't remember when Diablo came to console. I think it was way after that. When did Diablo 3 come to console? I can't remember. The ROI on checking everything just isn't there. Who has time for that? See, for her, it's not about the ROI. It's about the chance. It's like there could be, right? You never know. And again, she got positive reinforcement. She got something to drop in Borderlands 1 that I don't know if I've ever seen anybody report. I've told that story many, many times. I told that story in Borderlands streams to the Borderlands community, and I never had a single person say, oh yeah, that's a known thing. That's a known thing. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. You can definitely get that. Nobody ever confirmed it. So I like to try to clear the map if I can. Yeah. My what if brain makes it to where I do everything but get nowhere in those types of games. Yeah, you're always like, what if there's something good? What if there's a good upgrade? What if there's a really awesome item? For sure. Yep. I love how Resident Evil changes the color of the map of the area after you discover everything. Yes. Mm-hmm. We played when we were playing Cat Quest 3. When you go into like a dungeon, it gives you a little green check mark on the map if you find all the treasure. And we came out and we had missed one, and we were both like, ugh. And we went back in, and thankfully it was like right at the start. So there are things that we're the same about. We are the same about that, right? We want to have the little check marks on the map. We want to complete those things. But when she's like, you got to hit every blade of grass in Cult of the Lamb, you got to hit every box, every barrel, I'm like, babe, we got to go to the next room. Will you stream Nico de Rico, the magical world in the green room today? I think somebody put that in the... I think that was on my homepage on YouTube. It looks like a pretty neat little... like side-scroller kind of... Nico... Oh, Nikado Avocado. No, I don't want him. I don't need his villain arc. Yeah. This trailer dropped today. It looks like... There's some people who have already upgraded full playthroughs that are landing around 4 hours. Yeah, 7 hours ago, this trailer hit PlayStation. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It really harkens back to some of the older, more classic games, like the charming nature of the players. What did it say? A love letter to what? 30 years of jump and runs. Yeah, so this is meant to be very familiar to those older style games like a Rayman Legends, or just any of those platformers like that. A lot of different perspective changes as well. Similar to something you might see in like a Crash Bandicoot, a modern platformer to fall in love with, and it is co-op. Now, my issue with these games typically is the boss fights and these little environments look like actually a lot of fun. My issue with the platforming is that it usually is easier when you're by yourself. Fighting a boss, or like this, when you're in a room, fighting a boss is usually totally fine. But when my wife and I played through like the Mario games or like Donkey Kong Country or even Rayman Legends, a lot of the times it's actually easier by yourself. We did like Rayman Legends a lot, though. We had a lot of fun with Rayman Legends. And I think one of the reasons we had so much fun with Rayman Legends was because we were able to constantly have like a really, really quick checkpoint. Personally, I think that's kind of a deal breaker in some of those games where if someone dies, if you have to go back almost like disproportionately far, it's a bit of a downer. And if my memory is correct, Rayman Legends did like an excellent job. It did an excellent job with constantly giving you, you're right there where you died. You're like, okay, we got to get through this area, and you like go and you slide down and you jump and you jump and you jump, and then you'd miss a jump, right? And then it'll put you right back at that section. I think sometimes when games don't do that, that's where it just starts to feel like a flat tire. We'd be like, ugh. And then she doesn't like it. She doesn't like platformers. She doesn't like jumping. That's why we stopped playing Deep Rock Galactic. Like, Deep Rock Galactic was right up our alley. It was very Borderlands-esque. You go in, there's bugs, you've got guns, you're kind of mining. But the escaping, when you have to get out, there's just enough jumping and trying to navigate back up ledges and stuff. She fell a couple times, and we still got out, but just the stress, the anxiety, and the jumping, she's like, I don't like this. So, yeah, I mentioned it in the show open, Patrick, because I put Neva on everybody's radar earlier this week in my opening segment, and then at the end of today's segment, I said, be sure to check out this game. It's gotten some very good reviews, like 86, 87, or 85. So it's in the high 80s on OpenCritic and Metacritic. Yeah. It's an active choice on my part to choose more games or freedom over feeling of secrets and completion. For sure. Because you end up staying in a game too long. I get that. You see, Elon was playing with his rockets the other day and caught it when it returned. Yeah, I saw that. That footage was really cool. My cousin's a huge SpaceX fan. He was probably geeking out. It gets worse and worse to constantly have to backtrack in games. Yeah, anytime you got to backtrack or retread, yeah, I feel like it's a huge turnoff. You would love to play Jump King. We played Jump King and took turns. It was pretty funny. The key paragraph for me was this. Ultimately, the redesigned internals of the new Series X models will make it less expensive for Microsoft to manufacture these consoles, and then this updated hardware could make it more efficient to run Xbox cloud gaming servers. What? Why does that matter? So, wait, so The Verge said that? So are they basically saying that... Hang on a minute. What in the heck are they saying? Is this going to be more of a divergence to just cloud? Are they making these so they can use them on the cloud? Microsoft's new Xbox Series X models have a smaller chip and different cooling? So they plan on using these for cloud? I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense. Where's that quote? Ultimately. While an up to 16 watt drop doesn't sound like a lot, it will certainly make a difference for Microsoft's Xbox cloud gaming power usage. Microsoft is already using Xbox Series X-like hardware in its data centers, and it's reasonable to assume that the company will use a mix of these smaller chips and redesign cooling for efficiency purposes. Oh, so they're talking about there's a wattage difference. Yeah, there's a wattage difference. Read. Well, somebody only screenshot that one paragraph, so I didn't know what else was said. That's why I literally went to the article to get the context of why they're saying that. So there's a 16 watt drop, and they're saying, you know, that lower power usage could add up in help. So it will just make the Cloud Blades cheaper to make and run. Okay. Yeah, just that paragraph by itself, I was like, wait a minute, is that the purpose of these? Like, what are we doing here? What is this? The impressive PS5 Pro is now able to run Gran Turismo 7 with ray tracing at 60 on track like the Series X and Forza Motorsport could do in 2023. D-Batch replies, "Aw, Colt, man, the ray tracing is very bad in Forza. Digital Foundry has confirmed this many times. The ray tracing in Gran Turismo 7 is miles beyond Forza, even the PC version. I hate doing this to you, but stop this crap. PS5 Pro stomps the Series X. Better not compare." Whoops. To be fair, the Cloud Blades have likely been on the smaller chips for some time. Yeah, probably, because they were constraining their own Series X production for the cloud, right? Yo, could we get 26 more likes on the video, guys? We're 12 members away from me having to give 5. If you haven't renewed your memberships today or done an upgrade, consider doing that. Hit the $sign. See if you have an upgrade. See if you have a renewal to celebrate. Also, anytime you guys upgrade, it counts as 2. If 5 people upgrade in a day, I drop a 20 bomb. So if you can't do a membership, though, hit the like button. Be here, lurk, listen, and like. That's how you support the channel. That's how you potentially get it gifted. I guess it's costing them too much in power and not enough money is coming in. I mean, there's been a serious issue with the xCloud with, what was it that people said? It was the capacity. They've had issues with capacity for a while. So, I mean, if this helps them build more and save money and get capacity up, then I suppose that's a good thing, you know? I don't know. To me, that's always going to be... Honestly, listen, there's always going to be an issue in my mind with... There's always going to be an issue with cloud from like multiple angles. It's not just lack of capacity, games, or does it run well or not. You have all this completely uncontrollable, you can't mitigate or manage the industry of the internet service provider, especially in America. You have no control over it. So if you convince, let's just say you convince like 1 million people in America to sign up and do cloud gaming. They're like, yeah, that sounds great. And you get 1 million people to sign up. If they're all across America in different cities, suburbs, and areas of their towns and their cities and their counties, you have no idea the status of the internet service there. The network, if it's oversold, if it's older lines, newer lines, you don't know any of that. So they're going to experience your cloud gaming to very different degrees. You could have people that experience it and it's wonderful. Other people are going to experience it and be like, this is crap. You don't have any control over that. Like, that's one of the biggest dilemmas with cloud gaming is it's like, I don't care how many features you add, games you add. I don't care how fast the servers are. It doesn't matter if people try to use it from a crappy neighborhood. And the consumer doesn't have any control over it either. I don't have control over what's in my neighborhood. I don't. Yo, Gray Speedy bumps the line with a VIP renewal to 64. Thank you so much. Looking forward to Liza P being pro-enhanced. I'm looking forward to anything that's pro-enhanced. Dragon Age Veilguard's going to be pro-enhanced. I really do think people underestimated what that's going to do for PlayStation just from a marketing perspective. To have a pretty steady flow of games constantly saying, hey, we're PS5 pro-enhanced. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to go to the writer's room in about 10 minutes. If you want to become a member, now's the time. You want to gift a member, now's the time. If you want to ask a question as a member, go ahead. Submit that question. And we had a little kerfuffle yesterday. I don't know what happened with the writer's room. It was set to member plus and above. That was not on purpose. That has been rectified. So today's writer's room should be set for all channel members. How long do I have to find the conversation about Destiny Rising? That's such a more simple thing for you now, Vipel. You can just go watch my upload. I did an upload about it today. Okay, yeah, all channel members. Okay, it's set properly. Like my area, Xbox Cloud sucks for me. Right, which doesn't mean that xCloud is bad. It just means that you aren't going to have a good time with it. You know? You're not going to have a good time with it. What's a kerfuffle? I actually don't know what would the official definition be. A commotion or fuss, especially one caused by conflicting views. It's a British thing. I don't even think I used it properly. Yeah, I didn't use it properly. I think the list of PS5 Pro Enhanced games will be just as long, if not longer, than the normal PS5 games by generation end. Well, once you start adding in, once you start adding in the friggin', the third-party games. Yeah, once you start getting a steady flow of third-party games that are just like free advertising for PlayStation. You know, Dragon Age Veilguard just did free advertising for the PlayStation 5 Pro. Oh yeah, our game's going to be enhanced on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Just consistently reminding people that that's coming. Three-minute YouTube shorts. What you need to know. You can start uploading 3-minute shorts now. They won't show up as shorts right away. They should show up in the feed within a week. Well, then why would anybody do it now? Random vertical 3-minute videos on your channel? That would look so stupid. Why would you even roll the feature out if it's not ready? That's so weird. I get rolling a feature out slowly because it's not ready, but rolling it out and it doesn't even work properly? Good night. I'm glad we didn't do that. It's a dust up. Here's a question from Muku. There's a trend currently that mobile versions of popular games, COD Mobile, Apex, being better than the main game. Do you think this will be a similar thing with Destiny Rising? How is Apex Mobile better when they shut it down? I don't get that. Can you fill me in there? Why was that considered better? Why is COD Mobile considered better? Fill me in here. What are you talking about? I don't know if is chat. I had another person leave a comment on my video. What's the thinking behind this? Why do people think that that's the case? Now, I'm already seeing people say that they think the supers are really cool, that they think the supers are awesome, and that they wish that they were in the base game of Destiny. I also think you're going to have people that are a little frustrated that there's a new classification of weaponry above exotics. I do think you'll see people complain about that. Apex Mobile was good for a mobile shooter. Was it better than Apex on console or PC? I never saw anybody saying that. Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty. I don't know if I have ever seen anybody say they're better. Now, I think I remember a time where didn't Call of Duty Mobile get a return of a map that the guys not on mobile were jealous of, but I don't know if they said it was better. Better features such as the maps and the modes. Okay. He's qualifying what he meant. Now I understand what you're saying. So, yeah, I remember that. There was a time where people were really irritated. Was it Verdansk or something? It was like Verdansk was coming to Call of Duty Mobile, but it wasn't coming to Call of Duty Warzone on, console and PC. And so the main Warzone community was ticked off. You could certainly see something like that in Destiny Rising, where people are like, hey, those supers look cool. Those new gun, that new gun level looks cool. What's going on? Why can't we get that? Guys, we're going to be going to Writer's Room in about 5 minutes. You're 9 away from making me give 5. And then we'll go to Writer's Room, plan out the next day. I guess Amazon was only working on Throne of Liberty instead of the console port. Wait, what's going on? The New World PS5 port's rough. Is it? I thought people were saying they were having a good time with it. New World PlayStation Store. What's the it's less than an 8. It's a 3.98. That's not terrible, but that's also not great for a game on PlayStation. The minute a game on PlayStation drops below a 4 out of 5 stars, I'm always a little concerned, but it's right there at 4 out of 5 stars. It's a 3.98. Yeah. I didn't have any issue when I played, but I only played like the very beginning, so I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. The beta ran smoother or smooth? What are you trying to say, Ginyu? Compared to Throne and Liberty, it's rough? Huh. Interesting. Compared to Throne of Liberty, it's rough. If they bring back the Wrath of the Machine in mobile for D2, people will riot. I don't know if you'd be able to get away with raids like that on mobile. I think if they got raids, it would have to be a very, very different interpretation. They are going to be doing 6-man strikes on Destiny Rising. Because if you're jumping into a Destiny mobile game and you're doing 6-man strikes, it wouldn't surprise me if those strikes are pretty straightforward, pretty simplistic. Because maybe that's their catalyst into raids, since everybody will be accustomed to running 6-man encounters. But you'd almost have to have matchmaking, which means you'd almost have to then have, like, very simple mechanics. You can't have people on mobile even really doing that great with communication, right? I don't know if there's any like latent comms baked into a game like this. Are there mobile games where you can, like, I don't know, plug a headset or a Bluetooth headset connect it to your phone and then talk to people? Is that common in mobile gaming? I feel like that would be I'm not experienced in mobile gaming, but my assumption would be that there's no voice comms in these mobile MMOs and these mobile games that are out there. I might be wrong, but that again would be my assumption. Yo, guys, we're getting out of here in 2 minutes. Thanks for 300 likes. I appreciate it very, very much. Make sure and smash the like button before we end today. Going to go to the writer's room, figure out what we're going to do tomorrow. Jaggy says, so the New World PS5 port is borderline bad. Really? Oh, hang on. You're saying something here. It's framey, but that could be a first day thing. At least the servers work. Huh. That's weird. They had so much time to get it right. They even had a beta. I'm kind of surprised. I feel like they did a really good job of like fixing things, addressing things, and all of that, like as time went on, you know? So that's kind of surprising. All right, I'm going to spam a link in chat. We're going to head to the writer's room. If you're not a member, you can become a member. Always remember that if you join, you want to pick that member plus. And let's go. Thanks so much for being a member. If this hits your feed, you might have gotten gifted a membership last week. If you're currently paying for your own membership, double check that you're on Member Plus or VIP. Thank you to everybody who's continued to upgrade. And then make sure if you do that, celebrate that and let me know, because if 5 of you do it in a single day, I will gift a 20 bomb. We will say thank you. We're trying to get more and more people to do that. We're trying to get to 600 people, and we keep stalling out. We're in like the 550s. We get in the 560s, and then it kind of comes back down. So make sure and do that. Try to help us hit that next milestone. We'll do a big IRL stream. I'm going to end the previous stream and bring folks over, and then I'm going to change that thumbnail. I was debating between two thumbnails today, so I tried a different